Hello and good morning. You are back. Thanks for being back with me and spending precious time out of your day and your life to spend it with me. And thanks much. I have a fun show here for you guys here today. I hope you enjoy. I want to talk about the difference between cryptocurrency and stocks. I get a lot of people asking me, well, I got a 401k, Alan, and what should I do? And I really want to deal with these people and turn my stock into this. And should I keep stock? Should I not own stock? It depends on what you believe, and I'm not giving financial advice. I know it sounds that way, but I'm really not. I'm just trying to tell you what the system thinks of the different products. And what I mean by that is, if you look over the last 20 years, and you can look all this up, this is a very factual statement. You don't own your stocks any longer. I talk about the great hurricane of Sandy, where there's a company called Seed and Company. You can look them up. They stored all the stocks, paper stocks, in a vault that was airtight. Somehow the water got in, and the hurricane in Wall Street, and the water flooded, and in the process of drying them out, they were all soaking wet, they all burned. So Seed and Company no longer has the records of who owns what. Not by accident, in my opinion. I don't really know. Wasn't there. I don't know the people in the room. However, I do know this. Since then, they've digitized them. Now, when we talk about digitize them, have they tokenized them yet? No. That's the next step, right? But tokenization of all these stocks is going to be a benefit to you and I. I know it doesn't sound like it originally, but right now we have no idea how many shares everybody owns. This is not by accident. You can look all this up. Seed and Company has made this very clear that those people are controlled, if you will, is a good word for it, by the system, by Wall Street, by the banking system that creates this Ponzi dollar scheme that we're all living in. There's no other way around it. And there's so much proof of all these things. I mean, the Dodd-Frank bill and other things come to mind. And I talk about this a lot, but one of the 8,000 pages that Dodd-Frank bill was, that was the most sinister of them all, was that the depositors in all banks in America will be paid after the bondholders, and after, because the bond holders are paid first, always in a litigation. Let's say there's an economic crash or the system fails in some way, and there's many channels that are talking about the black swan event that's coming, that's going to create this financial problem. If that were to occur, the bond holders get paid first. But in the Dodd-Frank bill specifically, it states that derivatives will get paid before the depositors. Now, I want you to step back and think about the failed banks we had last May, right? And think about, well, when those got paid, FDIC and Janet and their buddies, oh, we got this. We're going to come in and we're going to print money if we need to make everybody whole. I want to remind everybody that there are quadrillions of derivatives out there. I don't know how they're going to print that to make you whole, because you're in line after the bonds, and after the quadrillions, you're in line after that. That's just as banking deposits. Now, if you look at the documentation in the red fine print at the bottom of all of your stock today and your holdings and your purchasing, all of those stocks and your 401ks and all of it, all your retirement funds, that paper no longer belongs to you. I know it sounds revolutionary, and I know it blows a lot of people's minds, but it's the facts. That's the facts. You don't own that paper, for number one. Number two, you have no idea how much of that paper is actually real and how much of it's been rehypothecated or duplicated in so many different ways. If you don't believe me, just look it up and ask your broker where your shares are. Actually, they have no clue. They just don't. the entire thing is Fugazi, right? It's very trying when I hear people tell me, oh, buy Tesla or buy this or buy that. In a short-term trade, that exposure, I would say, would be a good thing. But if you're 50 years old and you're paying into something like CalPERS and they're not yet into crypto, and I would be very impatient, I'd be very vocal and forceful towards CalPERS and writing my emails to them constantly and say, you need to get into Bitcoin, you need to get into XRP, the top 10 coins, and you need to get into this because evaluations are going to hold themselves far better than corrupted paper and quadrillion-dollar Ponzi's. I hate that it's come to that point, but that's where we're at. That's where we're at with this economic system. See, what most people don't understand is you are the product. Not only are you the product, you're the greatness of the economy. Many of us think, oh yeah, well no, the big bankers and the system and those guys are the most important part of the wheel. No. You are the only important part of the wheel, and I talk about this all the time. I tried to explain it to a very intelligent man the other day. Money only gets created as soon as you borrow it. When you borrow something or spend something on your credit card, it gets borrowed into existence. Visa doesn't have a giant bank that, they pull the money out, let's take the money out of the ATM, Visa ATM to pay this bill. As soon as you create that $70 purchase, that money, those digits are created. This is essentially how the euro dollar, and I don't mean the euro, I mean the euro dollars are created around the world. There's way more euro dollars than there are dollars in the United States. The euro dollar being a slang term for the fact that any dollar that's created outside of the US monetary system is the euro dollar. That system, that is all exactly what I just said, comes into creation when you purchase something, when they make a new deal, when they want to build a new bridge. It's done in a bond form or fashion, but it's all created through a euro dollar system or network. All of that can come crashing down. I know I hear a lot of people, and I got a lot of feedback on my video just the other day about how people were telling me, oh, Allan, you're wrong about Fiat. Fiat's going in the toilet and it's going to zero and the US dollar is going to nothing. No, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry, that's not the way the system works. The way the system works is it's more likely to go up and crash than go down and become worthless and crash. Because remember, when China and Russia and all the BRICS nations say, or Saudi Arabia, like the big news lately, can't believe there's so many people that don't understand this next statement. There's so many people that don't get money who are talking about, well, they're no longer going to use the US dollar. Well, what happens when you use less of something? Does it go up in value or down in value? It goes down or up, right? Which direction does it go? When something becomes more scarce and yet people still have to have it for a system to run because it's liquidity around the world, even though that number is diminishing, there's still as many people that need to pay off all those loans in which they've created over the last few years. And now the scarcity of those dollars is that less of them around. What happens to the value of the dollar? It clearly goes up. And let's remember what the Saudis said. They didn't say that, oh well, we're never going to trade in US dollars again. They just said they're leaving that contract. They're just saying that we're going to sell, if we want to sell it in pesos, we'll sell it in pesos, we'll sell it whatever it is. That doesn't mean they're still not going to take dollars for oil. And that's just one little part of this entire system. You have to remember, all of these loans are built on this paper Ponzi. which gets me back to why you would rather own crypto than paper stocks. It's really simple for me. Paper stocks are a complete manipulation. They've been around for hundreds of years, and they've been bastardized to the point where their evaluations no longer hold up to the representation of the money in which they were sold. Let me explain. The whole banking system for 1,000 years is predicated and relies upon this one fact. We get thousands of people deposit, and thankfully those 1,000 people never want their money back next week. They only take it in little bits and pieces. Therefore, they can fractionally reserve what they truly own. Think about stocks on steroids with that concept that I just explained to you. Nobody's ever going to sell all of their Tesla stock tomorrow. So they can just kind of feed them out, print more, feed them out, make, oh, this guy died, or his pension or his estate needs all the stocks. Okay, pay him out his stocks at that moment. But when the music stops, if the music were to stop, and everybody went to the counter and said, I want my Tesla stocks and I want the evaluation of today, that market will crash. It will absolutely crash, virtually to zero, because the amount of them printed and created compared to the dollar evaluations is ridiculous numbers. This is like 500 to 1. Your dollar value will go down 500%, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, when you know that, what's the difference between a crypto? At least, even if there's 100 billion XRP, at least I know how many of them there are, right? I know how many of them are out there. I got a blockchain tells me all of that. This is the big difference. Accountability, decentralization, and a secure network is the big difference. That's why you own these coins. You don't own these coins because they're going to revolutionize, the world. They're not going to solve, of course, they're going to solve a lot of things, accountability, like I just said, but they're there to help us keep them honest. It's harder and harder and harder for them to pull the Ponzi with a product like that. Just so you know. No, I don't think a crash is coming, and no, I don't think there's an economic big problem coming anytime soon. But if there is, you're not going to want to be in stocks, period. That is the worst paper to own. In fact, that's even worse than owning dollar paper, which is going to not be good either. Let's think about this. You work your life, hard-earned labor away from your family and your friends to earn something that they can print infinitely. Does that sound like a good equation to you? Does that sound like a trade you need or want or would want to live in, or a world you'd like to live in? No, of course not. That's the difference between crypto, fiat, and stocks. Now I know gold bugs out there are saying gold's the same thing. I agree. I totally agree with gold and silver being one of those things that you're going to want to own in spades. I wouldn't put it all into gold and silver. I wouldn't put it all into crypto, but I would have a balanced portfolio of those three. The crypto, well, I know this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, but the top 10 coins, and I mean top 10 on the chart. Bitcoin's going to be an important coin. And I know a lot of XRP people don't want to hear that. And XRP is going to be a really important coin. And I know Bitcoin maxis, that's the last thing they're thinking about. So typically, when it's the last thing you're thinking about, it's typically the first thing that hits you over the head. Just wanted to do a quick video because I got a great response to my video about Fiat the other day, and there were so many people telling me, oh, Allan, you're wrong, Fiat's trash and it's garbage, you don't understand, and you got this all wrong. And I'm like, well, maybe. I get a lot of things wrong. Maybe. Remember, it was a concept video, and I need you to put your thinking mind at work, and you need to work at a lot of this stuff. A lot of what I'm talking about in this video especially is research I've done over 20 some odd years. I was negatively influenced by the Dodd-Frank bill. I had to move out of the country that I lived in because of the Dodd-Frank bill. And if you think Dodd-Frank is anything great, read it again. I know you're busy. It's a big life we have. But it was not a good piece of paper. There are some things in it that are going to be able to, man has evolved, and we're going to work, we have workarounds. Of course, there's going to be some ability for that. That was a terrible piece of legislation. And anytime the man says it's helping the little guy, you really want to look under the rug. You really want to dig deep. When they tell you this is the best thing for the little guy, yeah, look out, because, you know, there might be something running you through from behind. All right, guys, with that, I've just do a quick little video about the difference between stock and crypto. And I think you really, I'm not trying to say sell all your stock tomorrow. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give that advice. This is just a perspective of how the future of stocks and crypto are going to interplay with each other. And I know Mr. Larry Fink is out there telling everybody he's going to tokenize all these stocks. I don't know how they're going to reevaluate it all, because it's been rehypothecated to a ridiculous extent. And how they're going to put all those tokenized on a blockchain, honestly, I'm thinking reset is the only way they can do that before they can tokenize all those stocks, because I know the paper doesn't add up. Well, the paper doesn't even exist anymore. It burnt in a fire. Holy smokes. Who knew? All right, guys, I thank you for being crew members, and it's so much fun that we get to share our knowledge with each other, life experience, and thanks for being members, and thanks for liking and subscribing and telling me down below what you liked about the video. All right, guys, with that, I am out. So it came to my attention the other day that people really think the dollar is trash. And I thought, okay, trash. I know that 1% of the people on the planet get that. The other 99% are busting their tails to earn it. Oh yeah, it'll probably just go away tomorrow. Yeah, that's my guess. Yeah, well, I'm wrong a lot too. Love you.